The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Talk Time with Val. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Val Anistema, and I have, who I hope will be a reoccurring guest with me, Jeff Haney. And I'm just drinking water for now, so I'm not sure why I'm flubbing, but just deal with it, people. So, hi, Jeff. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
You're welcome. So, we were talking about, during the last show, we were talking about the Missouri Network for Opiate Reform and Recovery. We were talking about hope, and you were saying that there was steps.
So, Missouri Network for Opiate Reform and Recovery is an outreach center that's in South St. Louis. It's 4022 South Broadway, St. Louis, Missouri.
Are there others like it around the country?
Around the country there definitely is. We're kind of one of a kind in St. Louis. It's owned by two co-founders, Chad Sabora and Robert Riley. They've been doing this for a while now. The outreach center itself opened up 2 years ago, and we have a storefront where we meet and we have meetings and stuff like that. Some of the services that we offer. We have parent grief counseling, which is parents who've lost their kids to overdoses and things of that such. Opiate addiction education. We go to schools and high schools and talk about drug addiction. We offer treatment referrals. We have an attorney that's on a sliding fee. Definitely a social education speakers.
What is your awareness campaign?
Awareness of the opiate crisis currently going on? Yeah, I mean, so literally...
Well, wait. Before you answer that question, what is the mission statement for Missouri Network for Opiate Reform and Recovery? What is your mission statement?
I don't know the whole mission statement off the top of my head. It's definitely there is hope. Here, I have the mission statement here. It's our goal is to promote continuing opiate reform through legislation, policy reform, education, awareness, harm reduction, and community support.
All right, so let me take a look at that really quickly. So our goal is to promote continuing opiate reform through legislative policy reform, education, awareness, harm reduction, and community support. So let's look at that. This is an organization that is promoting the continuation of rebuilding society by taking away the power drugs have through not just one-on-one contact with a person who is in the throes of addiction, but through legislative policy reform. So you guys lobby?
So we lobby. We the two co-founders have wrote laws that's been passed that are currently in...
What are their names again?
They have a 911 Good Samaritan law. So
we talked about that just a few weeks ago, actually.
So the co-founders wrote that law, and so it's similar based off.
What are their names again?
Laws. Chad Sabora and Robert Riley. So if me and you are shooting up together and you fall over and die, typically, in the past, I would be charged with involuntary manslaughter
for reporting it because you're there.
Because I'm there. Now, there's a period of time where you have immunity, so you can call the police or call 911 so that they can come and help the person instead of body dumping.
Hey, Jimmy, wasn't that something that you were saying was complete bull hockey? Because it's like you want to help your friends, something bad has happened, you're shooting up, or you're doing drugs, but you can't even help them because you call them, you get arrested for them ODing.
Right.
You got really passionate about that. Jimmy's on one of his lows right now, but he got really passionate. I'm talking about the walls were shaking. He was screaming. He was so mad.
Well, no, it's complete fucking bullshit that they ever were allowed to do that. And there's other things. This year we're going after, I think, 4 different laws. February 7th in Missouri, we're going to be going down and lobbying down in Jeff City. I usually go down once a day. It's Missouri Recovery Advocacy Day.
When you're lobbying, do you invite the general population, anybody who wants to come and support?
Yeah.
So what's the date? Where's the venue?
So February 7th, I think it's a Wednesday or so. It's down here at Missouri Network, the Missouri Network. We're going to meet here at 5:30 a.m. We're going to have vans and stuff.
What's the address here again?
It's 4022 South Broadway in St. Louis, Missouri. And can I give out my phone number? Is it okay?
Yeah.
So, and if anyone needed to get a hold of me to join or have any questions, my cell phone number is area code 978-902-2680. And we're going to get a bunch of people. I think last year when we went, there was 40 or 50 people. We all went down for Advocacy Day for recovery.
What is it about? What is Advocacy Day? What do you...
So whatever laws we're trying to get passed for that year, we go and talk to who's ever your state representative.
So let's say we have listeners here and they want to come and help. What are they advocating for? What are the laws, the reforms that they're looking at this year?
This year I don't know all of them off the top of my head, and I can get the information. And we can talk about it, at a different time. But I know we're trying to get a law passed where what happens is a woman who's pregnant, she can easily get on Medicaid, and who's addicted to heroin, we can easily get her on Medicaid and get her help. The second that she has a kid, she's dropped, and there's no longer help.
Really?
Yeah, so they're
giving help to the mother, but not for the mother, it's for the baby.
Well, it's for the mother to have the baby, but
right, but as soon as
the baby's done,
she's just discardable?
Right. So they're trying to give it for 2 years after the baby that you still have Medicaid that you can get help.
Yeah.
There's some controversial stuff that we're trying to get passed.
Like what?
Needle exchange in Missouri.
Let's talk about needle exchange. Okay, so what exactly is needle exchange? 1. 2, why is it a bad thing in some people's minds? And 3, why is it a positive aspect of society?
Okay, and so just in my opinion, and I've read studies, and I don't know them all off the top of my head. And me, it's kind of a moot fact because it's a moot point because it's not complete truth in my life with why it's a bad thing. People think you're innate.
What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. So just needle exchange is just when drug addicts have dirty needles. They'll bring them in. They'll give them to somebody. We will take them and we'll give them clean needles.
Well, why do they need clean needles?
So they don't get Hep C, HIV. So they don't get any type of infection, staph infection.
So I'm thinking a lot of people are going to be like, well, if they want to do stuff to themselves, they deserve what they get. But here's the thing. In my opinion, nobody deserves what they get through misinformation and uneducated, or if they have an addiction. You need water, right? You're thirsty. I mean, everybody can really relate to this. You're thirsty. You're really, really thirsty. You need something to drink. There's no cool water around. There's no water around, nothing. When you find that water, you fall on it. You can't stop yourself. You will binge, you will drink, you will gorge, you will... that need, that complete and total need. It doesn't mean you're addicted to water, but that's what that need is for these people. They have no true control at that point. Why should they be punished as being dregs of society when in fact they're not? They are being held hostage by a situation that they don't yet have the means of getting out of. They don't have water available to them.
And that's something that's very, very close to what I was going to say after just the harm reduction of not getting HIV or Hep C.
You said something to me a few days ago about Hep C when dirty needles were being passed. What did it spike?
I think we were talking about Pence. I think we were talking about
Pence. Yeah.
So, and I don't know the exact numbers. I don't know if it's 40% or 50%, something insane like that. But when Pence was governor of Indiana, he got rid of the clean needle exchange that they do up there, and it made the HIV and Hep C rate go up.
Like ridiculously spike. And we're not talking about 2% or 5%. We're talking about a general populace with a majority, or if not a minority, a select, I don't know, maybe 30+%. 1/3 of the people increased their risk and became HIV positive and Hep C positive.
And it's completely
avoidable.
And one thing we do here at Missouri Network is we do tests for HIV and Hep C once a month. We have the Department of Mental Health come in and do testing, for free. And everything that we offer here at Missouri Network is free. The last little thing is exactly what you're saying about the water. If I was able to hand out clean needles to people, ultimately it gives me an opportunity to talk to the drug addict to say, I lived the life you're living, and you no longer have to do that, and here's what we can do to help you out. Let's get you into detox. Let's get you into treatment. Let's get you into a 12-step community and see if they can help you out. Let's get you to refuge recovery, which is the Buddhist-inspired recovery.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people listening might be like, yeah, you can't help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves. Why are you wasting your time? At the end of the day, you're telling them this a dozen times and they don't listen. But you know what? I'm guessing it's the 13th time that you tell them that it might sink in. So tell them 100 times. The 101, if you help them.
So the last show we were talking about the end there is the surrender process.
What is that?
Yeah, so I think humans go through a surrender process when it comes to things like drug addiction or alcoholism. Codependency is another big one that comes to mind. And I think there's a surrender process that you go through when you're giving up something that you feel like you can't give up, that you love, that's helping you or it's completing you, but you know deep down inside it's causing you a lot of pain in your life.
In therapy, we call it the wall, and you have to systematically take it down one brick at a time. You might have to chip away at the mortar to get that one brick out.
Right.
But it's basically the same thing, right? Eventually, you move enough of the wall, you start seeing, and then you can see the other side. Okay, you still can't get over the wall. You eventually start moving more, and now maybe with that little help, you can boost yourself over the wall.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If I'm able to hand out clean needles to the general public, I can grab a hammer and start hitting some of the mortar with people, and I can say, look,
awesome.
Here's what you can do. Here's where the help is, and that's what I was saying last episode is. I never knew that there was help out there. Like, when I wanted to get clean and sober, I called the police and told them, because I didn't know. They took me to a psych ward and dropped me off. Exactly where I needed to go, and they helped me out tremendously.
Right.
But they took me to the emergency room, and I was able to get the resources that I needed. But I didn't know that there's help out there, and that's why I'm a huge advocate for the Outreach Center, and to get out there, get out in the public, and not be anonymous with me because I am in recovery, and, oh no, someone might know I was a drug addict at one time in my life. That those things don't bother me because I'm more important it's more important to me to try to help the next person than it is to worry about my stupid ass ego. That makes sense.
It does.
So, going back to the surrender process, it's a very difficult thing. It could be a lot of drug addicts and alcoholics are just fucking knuckleheads. They're just stubborn and they're very fearful and they don't want to say it. And so, when it comes to the surrender process with me,
who wants to admit to fear, though?
Yeah. So when it came down to the surrender process of me,
mm-hmm.
I knew since I was 16, 17 years old I had a problem with drugs and alcohol.
Right.
I knew I didn't drink or drug like the kids around me. I knew at 22, at 22, 28, 29 years old, I definitely knew I wasn't drinking.
When did you start drinking?
When I was 14. Daily drinking when I was 17.
So, when you were 14, how'd you get the alcohol?
Man, I was a drug addict. I'm resourceful.
Well, okay,
but
give me an idea.
At the end of the...
did you, take it from mom and dad's cabinet? Did you...
No, I didn't have to do that. I had, not to get him in trouble, but I had an older brother who was 7 years older than me.
Right.
So he'd be able to get me alcohol. Most of my friends were older than me who had older brothers.
So it wasn't that you were sneaking it. Somebody in your life was helping you procure it.
Yeah. And we had friends down the street from my house that it was acceptable to drink at 15 years old, and the parents would go get it. And that's where I started my drinking career. And and again, like I said last time, it completed me. It made me feel like a human being. It made me feel like I was a part of society. And so I would strive for that. And
well, what I was thinking is that you expressed earlier that you felt more like a loner. You felt like there was nobody around you. So even the acceptance of people around you who are helping you get the alcohol, drink the alcohol, being in their company while you're doing this, it's like feeding into a part of that need for connection as well.
Right. And so
it builds from a young age. And that's a patterning age, 14 years old, 11 for a girl, 13, 14 for a boy.
Yeah, no, your brain's forming. You got all sorts of stuff going on, and you're going to put alcohol, poison necessarily on top of that to skew your thinking.
Like McDonald's poison. Sorry, go on.
But
I wage my war against McDonald's and fast food.
But and so what ultimately ended up happening to me is finally when I was 33 years old, I'm sitting in a basement of this guy's house. No one will speak to me. A lot of times people say in recovery you got to change your people, places, and things. I didn't have to change any people, places, and things. No one was talking to me. No one was hanging out with me. I was alone at this point. I had one friend, that I could go over to his house and I could drink the way I wanted to drink, and it was the only person left. And in my eyes, he was an alcoholic.
How old were you?
33. He was an alcoholic, and he had problems, and I was sitting down drinking with him one weekend. I was kicked out of my house, for the 100th time. My wife kicked me out, and what happened was I'm sitting there drinking across. He has a bar in his basement. He doesn't even have a bed. He just has a bar in his basement and sleeps on the couch. And I'm sitting there talking to him, and he said, "Man, you drink way too much. You got some serious problems." Now, 164,000 times before that, I've heard from everyone that loves me, "Dude, you got serious problems. You need help."
So this is a guy you're seeing who you think needs help telling you this?
And when I heard that, I was like, "What the hell has my life come to?" For the first time in my life, I went home and I looked at myself in the mirror. And I looked at myself in the eyes and was like I was greenish gray. My liver was sticking out of my stomach. And I looked at myself and I was like, holy shit, like, you need help.
Excuse me. Liver sticking out of your stomach. It was distended?
Yeah. Severely.
Psoriasis?
It wasn't psoriasis yet.
But it was a precursor.
Yeah, so when I broke my neck in 2011.
Oh, well, let's just go right into that. It's like, yeah, we introduced that. How'd you break your neck, dude?
So,
like,
in 2011, I was in a severe car accident with my wife. We were, I don't know how to say this. Ultimately, we were in a car. An altercation happened. The car flipped 6 times. I came out of the car accident with a broken neck and quite a few other things wrong with me, severe concussion and stuff. And I broke my C2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I had 14 fractures in my neck altogether.
oh, God.
And so,
My God.
and so I still have some residual stuff with that. I'm infused through my C2 through C7. I'm all infused in my neck. My neck's all metal. I probably have...
Cyborg?
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about meditation last time. Like, I love to meditate thinking, like, my neck's a lot cooler than yours. It's all concrete and metal,
Right.
But when I broke my neck and I got staph infection inside the incision where they went in to put the titanium rod in my neck to hold my head up. The halo wouldn't work. Nothing would work. They had to go in through they typically don't go on next.
Halos?
A halo that the screws.
Yeah. Like the little thing they put around your head to hold it into place.
Yeah, so that wouldn't work. So they had to go in and put a titanium rod right away to hold my neck onto my body. And so I ended up getting staph infection inside the incision, and that got into my blood. And none of that. All I thought about when I woke up from breaking my neck was a nurse is going to walk in here and she's going to give me morphine. And I'm going to feel good again. When I leave here, they're going to give me a script of Oxycontin, and I'm going to feel better, right? And inside...
So you have a good excuse to get the stuff now, right?
And so when I was inside... I'm a reader, right? I like to read books and stuff like that. Even when I was fucked up, I read a lot. Or getting fucked up, I read a lot. And so when I was in the hospital, I read a lot about addiction and a lot about, what you said earlier, it's a disease, right? And I thought I gained all this self-knowledge. And I thought I gained enough to stay sober. Now, mind you, I'm getting out of the hospital with a script of Oxycontin thinking I'm going to stay clean.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed sober. I didn't drink for 3 weeks when I got out of the hospital, right? When I got out of the hospital, it was almost a year later. 6 months, 8 months later, something like that. I got out of the hospital, and I stayed clean for 3 weeks. And I drank again, 100%, because I could. Because my body was telling me, I believe that we're restless, irritable, and discontent when we're not drinking. And it's because I have a soul sickness inside of me that makes me not feel complete, a part of our fellow man, a part of anything.
It's like my need for chocolate.
Exactly. It's probably
I'm serious.
very similar.
When you're walking around and you ask me if you need something and I actually tell you chocolate, it's because at that moment in time I equate chocolate to feeling better. Yeah. It's my bourbon of choice.
Yeah. No, and a lot of people, and that's why I said earlier, drug addiction, alcoholism, and codependency. A lot of people don't equate my craving for this person as an issue in life.
See, people look at things like this, like, okay, look at portion sizes in America, okay? And I mean, in other places in the world, but really in America, you look at your portion size, and it gets bigger and bigger, and people are irritated when it's not, and you eat more, and you gorge more, and like, for me, I do have a chocolate addiction. It might not be as harmful or frowned on in society, but you know what? It makes me feel like shit when I have a box of chocolates in front of me, and I tell myself, I'm going to have 2 or 3, and that's it, 3 bonbons, and then I look at 6 wrappers in my hand, and I think, oh my God, what the hell did you just do?
Well, you think about society in general, right? The Catholics don't believe in divorce, right? So I'm married to a person who's physically abused, not me, but I'm just speaking hypothetically. And I see it, you see it a lot in society. Okay. And a lot of society says, well, I'm a Catholic woman and my husband's fucking beating me and I have to stay married and it turns into codependency and I have to make this work and this has to do this, has to. Or
I have 6 children and we can't afford it, but I can't go on birth control.
Right. And so it turns into like a very sick codependent relationship of being codependent on drugs and alcohol, a person, chocolate, whatever you want to say.
And it's, well, let's look back at the church, the equation there. I'm trying to equate this in my head. So it's like the church, the spirituality, or the doctrines, the rules have become, because it was ingrained in you. You grew up believing this is mandatory for your soul, then it's almost impossible to break away from that thought. So you could think, okay, so it's going to kill you, gestational diabetes. The doctor says you cannot get pregnant again, and it's going to kill you if you do, but you can't get any type of, you can't have any surgery, you can't even use, condoms, birth control, anything. But your life is in danger. But because your belief is so much a part of you, it's like it's something you can't control. It's something you were raised with or whatever. And addiction is the same thing.
Yeah, no, it definitely...
You can't control it. It's something else has control.
Yeah, and you can see the similarities in the two. Like, a lot of men...
Dude!
A lot of men in society now are told, pull your bootstraps up, just be a man, just do it. That's not how I want my son to be raised, right? Mm-hmm. I want my son to pull up his bootstraps, give someone a hug, and go, it's okay to cry.
Right.
It's okay to show emotions.
Yeah, because I think it's actually harder to acknowledge emotion and yourself than it is to just pretend everything's okay, the facade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, most definitely. And like I said, that surrender process of me hitting my knees on the ground, I didn't believe in fucking God. I didn't believe in any higher power before I got clean or sober. I believe that...
I should hope you don't believe in fucking God. I mean, that might be some kind of experience right there. But anyway.
But I didn't believe in any of that nonsense. I thought that was man-made for the general public to get everyone to act right.
Regarding the Legion, let's control the masses.
Yes,
right.
We're going to control the masses, and this is how we're going to do it, right? And so when I looked at myself that morning and I said, I need help and I don't know what to do, I literally got on my hands and knees and said, whatever's up there, either fucking kill me today or have me stop feeling like this. And I I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was out of plans, which alcoholics and drug addicts are fucking excellent for having horrible plans. And I was out of plans. I was out of ideas. And my next 60 days, 90 days, it felt like I was a puppet on strings and something was walking me around. And I did some things that were uncharacteristic of me. I asked for help. When I went to that place, I asked for help. When I went to the next place, when I went to rehab, I told them, I'm fucked up. You guys don't understand the way I think.
So all you atheists out there, we're not pushing God down your throat. It's not a dick. We're not flinging it out in public and wagging it in your face or shoving it down your throat. what we're doing is saying that at that point in time, it was maybe Jeff's own mental point where because he put his confidence in a higher power, he was able to find that help. But here's the thing. If you don't believe in the higher power, that's all well and good. Look at it as free will. Look at it as social development, psychological evolution. If you look at it from that point of view, psychological evolution, there comes a time in your life as a higher thinking being with a thought pattern process of integral 6, you are capable of moving in yourself and releasing something that you finally know as destructive. It is just, honestly, it's biology. Okay? Me personally, I believe in God. I say there is a higher purpose, a higher power, an energy to everything, and a synergy within everything. But just because I believe, listeners, doesn't mean that you have to. So take what you want from this, but please go on.
Oh, no, and I would definitely second that with the preface of this. I believe most people are agnostic who say that they're atheist, and they don't even know the difference. To me, I would never sit around and go, well, I'm an atheist, and this is why I'm an atheist. God to me was like Santa Claus. I never sat around and thought about debating if there was a Santa Claus or not. This shit just wasn't real before I got clean. And so there was no point in me sitting here trying to prove to you, in my head, you were just a feeble-minded person who was controlled by the government. And so it was, as you say that, I think of that. I think of a lot of times people don't like God because they don't like what's going on in their lives, but typically they're unwilling to look at what they've done to cause that suffering in their life.
Right, cause and effect, causality. And they look at a higher purpose or a higher being and think, well, why didn't you fix everything? Why isn't everything perfect? Because there is free will. You might not agree with Darwin a whole 100%. And we're actually at the center right now. It is open to the public, so we have a call coming in. Jeff may have to step away to take this because we are at the center to help people, the Missouri Network for Opiate Reform and Recovery. So we might have to take a minute for Jeff to answer that call.
No, we're good.
Somebody's got it? Okay, we're good. And it's like, you might not agree with him, but when it comes down to it, it is survival of the fittest. And there is something within us that will kick in when we are at that point of complete and total destruction, where something will tell us, whether we listen to it or not, or act on it or not, is different. You said you felt like you were a puppet on a string for 2 months, like something else was helping you move forward, guide you. Yeah. And you choose to believe that is God. I choose to believe that is God. There are people out there, you're right, I think people don't know the difference at times.
Between an atheist and agnostic.
Exactly.
And if you want to get like all
highfalutin,
non-spiritual with it, you can go as simple as this. We're pack animals, right? We are pack animals at our core, right? And so to be separate...
That's right, I'm alpha bitch.
To be separate, different, and alone from your fellow man goes against everything that Darwin taught, right? So to kill somebody back in the day, they would just tell them to walk out in the woods.
Yeah.
Because they knew they couldn't live by themselves.
You are no longer a viable part of this pack. You can no longer contribute. You're holding us back. You're going to get us eaten because... they're going to catch up because we're waiting for you. Get out.
And that's why, you could break it down to as simple as even at work, right? The women who all sit together, right? They all start having their period at the same time. And it usually follows the alpha female. And you can go back to that person and even get like deeper with it. You can be like, why is she the alpha female and these other ones aren't? Like Mother Nature's created some crazy...
pheromones,
cortisol, pheromones inside women to say, well, if I can't reproduce, you can't at this time.
Right.
And so everyone syncs up into the same thing, right?
Right.
And so it's, if you want to get technical with it, it's just it's synergy, right?
It is.
We're connected to each other, and when I'm not connected to society, and I believe in the recovery world, they'll talk about being on a pink cloud and someone being happy in recovery. And they'll be like, watch out for that pink cloud.
Pink cloud sounds awesome.
You're too happy right now. And what that is, in my opinion, is when you're connected to yourself, your fellow man, and to a higher power of whatever you chose.
I think I have a pink cloud.
And if that higher power is Darwin, fucking great. If that higher power is your science and your technology, awesome. You
know? You can be a Scientologist. We don't care. I care. I care if you're a Scientologist and you need help, reach out to me. I'll help you.
And so when I was going through the surrender process, it just doesn't happen in drugs and alcohol. Like I said, I've gone through a surrender process with the loved ones around me to be okay with their actions, and their actions ultimately is what I have to be okay with. And I can make it. We talked about it on the last episode. I have to determine if their actions are causing me great pain, or is it my ego, right? Is my wife or my kid affecting me in a certain way that I can't deal with them? Do I walk away? Do I turn the cheek? Do I burn the bridge? What do I do?
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. And to recap, the surrender process, basically, the only analogy I could think of is it's a wall. It's literally, there is something there blocking you, and you have to find a way to chip away day by day, thought by thought, minute by minute, just whenever it occurs to you. I am strong enough to do this, or I want to do this, or fuck it, I'm going to prove this to them and I'm going to do this.
No, and when I first got clean and sober, they said 1 day at a time is a huge term in recovery.
1 minute at a time.
Dude. Oh, I was living 5-6 minutes at a time. Like I remember at times my mom or wife would call me and be like, "Are you going to drink today?" Like, I don't know about today, but I'm not going to drink for the next 15 minutes.
Exactly.
You know, I'm going to be okay for the next 15. You can call me in 15 and see how I am then.
Dude, you know how people go on fasts for Lent and they stay away from meat and whatnot?
Yeah.
So for Diwali, you know what I give up? Yeah. Chocolate. You know how hard it is? It's easier for me to give up cigarettes than chocolate.
Yeah. No, and it's because it becomes a physical craving.
It is.
Just.
And then I have a husband who will pass by different bonbon places and bring home a myriad of chocolates. And he knows full and damn well that I am trying my best, and he doesn't see a problem with it.
Right.
And because he doesn't think there's a problem with giving me chocolate, I shouldn't be depriving myself, then I get mad at him because respect my authority. You know, respect my self-will here. I don't want it because I realize it's something that has control over me, and ultimately that's really the reason I've been trying to cut back on my chocolate.
And that goes back to, did you have the open communication with him of, here's my expectation of it, and if he's disrespecting you in a manner of this, you don't have to do anything with him. You have to determine it within yourself, do I stay in this relationship or not because of bonbons?
Well, what it comes down to is this. He's like, okay, and I'm thinking that for any enabler in any situation, it comes down to this. You're a tough person to live with when you don't have that little chocolate fix.
Yeah.
Or you seem kind of sad. I want you to be happier, so I'm going to give you that chocolate fix. Or I love you so much, and I know this is the thing that you love, so I'm going to bring you that chocolate because you love it so much, it's going to make you love me more. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%. You see it all the time with drug addicts. You'll see drug addicts have their mom take them to the dope set to comp, right?
I have no idea what any of that means.
So you'll see.
What's a dope set? What is a comp?
So you'll see.
I know what a mom is.
So you'll have a son's at the house, right? And he's just miserable because he's dope sick. And the mom is such a codependent, she will take him down to wherever, so they can pick up heroin so that he can get high to make him feel better. Yeah, I don't know if anyone says smack anymore. But
I saw it on TV, man.
Then so it's that sick of a codependency of, my feelings aren't okay until you're okay, and that is not right. It is not okay, in my opinion, to say you're acting a certain way. And so until you start feeling better, then I'm going to feel better. No, I have to be okay with what's inside me. I have to come to a spot where I can be loving, compassionate with myself. I guarantee you this.
I don't need you to make me feel like I'm a whole person.
So our friend Angela just left, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you this. You would never allow me to speak to her the way you speak to yourself.
That's true.
Yeah. No, and humans do that, right? We're completely uncompassionate, unloving, and 100% intolerant of ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
We do not allow us the right to be wrong.
I don't feel like I have the right to have happiness over somebody else's. And if, like, okay, so my traditional point of view, and it can be completely wrong, I'll admit this. But for some reason, there is a deep ingrained part of me that feels like if I love somebody, that I can never be truly content. I'm not even going to say happy, but I can't feel like it feels like my skin is itching. If something's wrong in their world and I can't help, or at least let them know I'm here if you need me, or do something. And then the closer the person is, the worse it gets. It's like if I can be starved and hungry, okay, and I want to eat something, but John won't eat. Like, the quickest thing I can make is a stir fry. It's some mushrooms, bell peppers, whatever. And John won't eat mushrooms and bell peppers. I guarantee you I will cook him his first. And I'll be lightheaded, getting a headache before I make mine, and give him what he wants to eat and take it to him to give him something to drink before I go get my own. And it's stupid because I can make mine and eat because he's not actually hungry at that time. But I have to provide for him before I can do for me.
And I think there's some truth to that when you talk about God or you talk about science, right? So am I being a servant to a God, or am I being a servant to am I being a servant towards society, right? Am I serving my pack over my personal needs?
Yeah.
Or
is that what it comes down to?
I would think so. Or am I trying to be a servant to God?
But a lot of religions show that too. You take care of others before you take care of yourself. It's not like being on an airplane where they tell you, put your damn mask on first before you pass out. Don't help somebody else.
Right. But putting the mask on, your common welfare, the common welfare of the pack or the group or the people, the religion should come first, right? And when it... No, it should. No, it shouldn't.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the only way it can come first, which it should, is if you take care of yourself first. And
the reason why I debate that is this. For me to have self-esteem, for me to stop talking to myself in that manner, of you're a piece of fucking shit, you're never going to admit shit, you didn't go to college, you're not going to do this, you're not going to get the girl, you're not going to get the car, to me stop feeling that way, I have to put down action in life. And when I put down action, I do esteemable acts to get self-esteem. Right? So when I'm doing esteemable acts in my community, like out trying to help heroin addicts, here at Mo Network, we hand out Narcan. It's a
Narcan?
Yes, naloxone. It's an opiate reversal drug. So when someone overdoses, you can hit them with Narcan, and it keeps them alive.
So you hand out what, like needles or like a dosage of it? What is it, like a vial?
Yeah, it's a vial. I can show you right now. Obviously, no one else can see it, but it's a vial of.
Okay, so it looks
medicine.
like a little insulin vial or something that like you look at TV and they tip it over to suck the medicine out. It's just one of those. And let's look at it for a quick second. They hand out this. It's injection. And okay, so we hand. It's called naloxone.
Naloxone. It's called Narcan in the streets. Called Narcan.
HCI.
And so we hand that out to drug addicts. So if I'm shooting up with you and you fall over an overdose, I can hit you with it. Call 911. Start giving you life breaths, right? Because you don't compress someone's chest and CPR when they're ODing, because all they're doing is their organs are shutting down. Right. So that's not going to help. But life breaths to keep them alive until the paramedics can show up. Usually when you hit them with Narcan, they wake right up and they're super irritated because it puts them straight into withdrawal. But so I'm out in the community.
Wait, so this shit can reverse people ODing and dying?
Yes.
And they don't freely hand it out everywhere?
No, we're the only... as far as I know, we're the only people in St. Louis who hand it out.
That makes no sense to me. This can prevent somebody from dying.
This is $120 at Walgreens.
Wait, but you have to get a prescription for it?
No, we just hand it out.
No, I'm talking about at Walgreens.
No, you can buy it. You gotta
$120.
You gotta ask the pharmacy. You know.
So you go as a parent. You're scared your kid might be doing drugs. You can go and you can buy this.
No, you just come here and we give it to you for free.
Well, I'm saying if they're not here, if they're not in Missouri, they have no way of getting it.
Yeah, if it's legal. If it's legal in their state.
This is what's blowing my mind. I didn't know that was possible. I thought if somebody's ODing, they need to be in a hospital having their stomach pumped, having fluids flushed through their system. I didn't know one little shot could save their life.
Now, a lot of times, if they're overdosing, they have enough opiates in their system to overdose again. So Narcan might last 45 minutes, an hour.
Get them to the doctor immediately.
But you got to get them to emergency room immediately.
Right, but this is actually a stop valve. It's like a finger in the dike.
Well, it puts a finger inside the opiate receptors, right?
Okay.
So that the misfiring can start happening so that they don't continuously overdose and they can wake up.
Oh.
They can start breathing again.
See, I didn't know anything like this existed.
Yeah.
So if you're like me, listeners, and you had no idea, it's called, how do you say it? Naloxone? It's Naloxonehci. Apparently it's over the counter. If you're willing to shell out, if you think somebody in your life is...
I don't know if it's over the counter in every state.
Okay. So you know what? Contact Missouri Network for Opiate Reform and Recovery and see if they can send you something.
Yeah, and we have a 800 number. It's 844-REBEL-UP. If you guys ever want to call us.
Rebel Up?
Rebel Up. Yeah. Someone might be
somebody's calling
right now. But what I was saying when it comes to that is that when I'm out in the community and I'm handing out Narcan, it gives me self-esteem.
Right.
So I stop talking to myself like that and start having these horrible just self-pity of beating on my high chair and just all this and I start getting the self-esteem where I can go out and I don't have these conversations in my head anymore as much, and I start getting self-esteem back. And when I get self-esteem back, then I go out in my community and I start really helping. Then I can start really taking care of myself. Then my career starts catching on fire. Then all these things happen from getting self-esteem.
Well, here's the thing. I thought unestimable act is taking care of my husband before myself.
Well, I would think taking care of your husband would build somewhat of self-esteem, but at some point
it became something
codependent.
Right. It became something where it's not appreciated or whatever. Okay, fine. At that point, I finally got it in myself where I said, and I thought it would be a huge deal, and it really wasn't, but I thought it would be a huge deal with him where I said, you know what? No. If you don't want what I made for lunch,
kiss my ass.
No, I didn't say that. I said, get your own lunch.
Yeah, 100%.
But then you know what he started doing? The fast food thing, which is killing him.
You got to be okay with his actions.
That's the thing. I won't tell him anything about the fast food thing because, one, I don't want to affect his own personal self-esteem, right? But I talked to him about healthier choices, so he eats like salads and whatever. He's just going to have his Mickey D's in the morning. I don't like that at all.
Right.
I think Mickey D's should be shut down everywhere. I have
some resentment towards McDonald's here.
I really don't like them.
Yeah.
I think it's disgusting. It is not food. You want real food? Go to Talk Time with Val. Get my recipes. Call me. TalkTimewithVal@gmail.com. You want any good recipe, quicker than Mickey D's, healthier, cheaper in the long run. I mean, yeah, don't go to Mickey D's. Don't put filler and poison in your body.
Yeah.
I hate them so much.
But that goes back to, and what you're saying goes back to, am I codependent with this person, or am I coming at it with a sense of love? I said earlier, like people like appreciate and they expect and they demand. If you're speaking your truth of, I can't at this point accept your behavior of eating McDonald's. I would like it if you took healthier choices. There's a loving way of approaching that and saying, I would appreciate it if you did this instead of this.
I decided to go the manipulative route. Most
people do.
What I did was I started making English muffins.
Yeah.
or biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would do the sausage, and I'd do a sausage blend that I know he likes, so I'll grind it. I'll make the sandwiches, and then all he had to do was pull it out of the freezer. It had like Black Forest ham or the egg omelet. Pull it out of the freezer in a paper towel in the microwave for 60 seconds, and it's ready and hot and ready to go. And it's like, because he would do sometimes Jimmy Dean's breakfast sandwiches, and he always says, my sausage is better, my biscuits are better. But he has a mental block against eating it because it's homemade, because he wants the Jimmy Dean's or he wants the McDonald's.
Well, could you?
So it was my manipulation tactic to make it.
And that's what I wanted to go back to.
And
is
put it in the freezer.
How you know that you're manipulating him. You know that you're trying to change his...
No, I know that now. At that time, I thought I was giving him...
Okay. I was going to say, that's like...
No, I know that now, looking back in hindsight.
Right.
Right? Because when he said, no, I don't want this, I'll have it as a snack, and he would sit down and have it as a snack before dinner was ready, and I'd be like pissed. But I'm the one who made it and put it in there, and if I wasn't prepared to say, like... So at that point, I'm like, to myself, I'm like, well, no, it's manipulative. Just because it's there doesn't mean he has to eat it. It doesn't mean that he has to use it for breakfast. It's there for him to eat. You made it so he'd have a healthier option of a snack rather than the processed stuff.
Right.
So you can't get mad. And that's when I realized I was being manipulative by trying to get him to have it or get him to have a smoothie or,
yeah.
You know?
And I
now I see it.
Yeah, I think that all comes to the truth. But if you're dealing with someone who's knows that they're manipulating the situation, that would be to me that would be like super red flag,
villainous.
Yeah,
right. No, at the time I had no idea. It's only, but you know what you do? You do something. There's an action, and then you don't get the situation, the response that you want, and then you realize, let me look at this from a different perspective, and you see it. He didn't say it. He still doesn't think it's manipulative. He said, no, it was just you being caring. It's not like you tried to guilt me and said, or make me, or stole my wallet and took my money and said, no, this is what you have to eat.
Right.
So he's like, but to me, I feel like it was manipulative because I feel like...
You weren't being truthful.
No, I told him. No, I did. I told him what it was for.
It doesn't sound like you're being truthful with your feelings within inside you.
Right. That's exactly it. I know. I told him, I said, this is a healthier option. You say you like this, do this, eat this, blah, blah, blah. But essentially what it boils down to is I can't tell him what to do.
And that's where...
And me trying to tell him what to do is what I think is manipulative, which is why I stopped doing it. The options are still there for him. But it's his choice. And
that's where meditation's useful for me. Because I won't hear things like that. I won't hear, Jeff, you're being manipulative, until I sit down and listen.
And think about it.
And when I'm sitting down and I'm trying to clear thoughts in my head, ideas will come up and will be like screaming in my head, Jeff, do this, or Jeff, look at this.
But here's my question to you. When you're actually... There's a difference between looking back and seeing that maybe you manipulated the situation, but in that situation, it's not like you're Machiavelli.
Right.
It's not like you're seriously thinking, I don't care about what the means are to the end, I want this end. As an ethical person, me personally, I know that I have ways to twist things to get what I want. In the moment, I don't realize it. I will use logic, I'll use whatever, and then I look back and I think, even though it's a common reaction for the normal person, why am I doing it? That's not who I want to be. That's not what I want.
But there's something very similar.
There was a situation in work the other day that happened.
Right.
And I was trying to express my feelings, and somebody took it a certain way.
Right.
And then expressed that I felt this way. And I came to you and I said, no, I don't. Because it's not that per se. I can deal with this. It's just something to me different.
And what did I say to you and her in the
Nothing.
situation?
You walked off, dude.
And why would I do that?
Because I hope, no, well, you told me, it sounds like it might be an issue, but I think you were giving me time for me to come to it myself.
Because you were dealing with...
It's up to me to deal with what I need to deal with.
What were you dealing with?
I was dealing with...
A lot of feelings.
Yeah.
Yes, there was no facts there. There was no, this is what happened, it was coulda, shoulda.
Oh, no, there were facts. You just weren't part of it.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is what was brought to me was just a lot of feelings. And at work,
there's no feelings.
There's not a whole lot of feelings.
And that's what I was trying to express.
That's the hardest thing to learn in business is you're dealing with emotional creatures, but you can't be so much emotional.
And that's what I said. That's why I came to you and I said, dude, no. With whatever they say, no. I can deal with this. I don't see it this way. I can deal with it.
Right.
Right? Because when it comes down to it, it is, yes, it's emotional because there are certain things that are said or done that will affect you. But then at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I can either focus and do what I need to do, and there are little hiccups that are going to harass me and bother me and upset me, and I can go and breathe and deal with it. Quick cigarette break, come back and deal. Yes, there are escalation points, but at the end of the day, until I personally feel it's escalated to that point, when I do, I'll bring it to you. But I'm not, because I don't.
Here's what I would love to say to you in the situation. Is this. What other people think about me is none of my business.
Oh yeah, you said that to me before. Woo! I said, screw you, dude.
Yeah, if you can
No. What they think about me is none of my business. What they say to me, what they do to me, hell yeah, it's my business.
Yeah.
You freaking do something to me. You steal my pen. You tell me I don't need to eat cake, or you make snide little comment, or you throw talk at me that is specifically geared towards me because you just mentioned my waistline and now you're saying I'm a size 5 or a size 7 and I feel fat.
Yeah, so
those specific things are things that even though it's emotional, it becomes something that it's underlying. So yeah.
Wait. You just said it though. I would think it
undermining, sorry, not underlying.
No, it'd be an underlying issue with inside you though.
Yes.
What you're talking about is all ego.
But it's okay. Yes, it is.
It's 100% ego.
It is. I agree with you. But again, if someone is going to come at you aggressively and say something to deliberately undermine your feelings or to physically undermine you, then it becomes an issue. Right now,
it becomes an issue with you.
Yes.
Not with me.
No.
If someone came to me and said I couldn't eat cake, I would laugh at them.
Right. Exactly, because you have that confidence in you.
Right.
And it becomes an issue.
An underlying issue.
Exactly. But when there are other issues, not the cake thing, it becomes like if they steal your paperwork or they jack your chair up or something and it's a deliberate malicious attack. And that's what I was saying. There's a difference between the feelings, which can be handled, or a deliberate malicious attack, something that's physical.
Yeah, I would...
So until it escalates to something like that, then you don't bring it.
Yeah, in business. I can understand.
Now, if you're being bullied at school, kids, if you're being bullied at work, people, in business, yes. But there is a difference between, like what Jeff was saying. Me personally, I might think I might have a weight issue, so it will bother me. So if somebody comes at me and says, yeah, you really don't need to be eating that, I'm going to lose my enjoyment of what I'm eating. I'm going to feel fat. I'm going to feel judged. And that's ultimately on me, right? Even though they are being cruel, that's ultimately on me for feeling that way. But that's not all right. And you can take that to your teachers. You can take that to HR. It is not all right. People should not, because there is a section that you're right. You can separate business from heart and whatever. But right. if you're feeling like shit, and somebody's making you feel like that, and you can't function because every time they come around you, your heart starts racing. You start feeling anxious. You can't focus and stuff, and it's affecting your work. Then it becomes a problem at business.
Yeah, but I don't think in Missouri. I don't see what HR would do. No.
I'm talking about. Okay, so I had a situation at work where I didn't feel comfortable. I was able to talk to my supervisor. It wasn't to escalate an issue to get somebody in trouble. It was more to appease my feeling, to make sure that you feel like you're being heard. If you feel like you're being heard, it fixes the majority of the problem. And just being able to say to somebody in the environment, look, this is not fair, this is not right, this is hurting me, it's affecting my work. Just being able to say that fixed the majority of my problem, because most of my problem came from feeling like I needed to be the bigger person, not say anything. I needed to be the I needed to focus on my work and do what I needed to do instead of just playing mind games or whatever. I needed to focus. And I felt bad about myself because I felt like I was letting somebody walk all over me.
But I would think that's 100% feeling secure at work, right? I don't feel like I'm secure at this job, and that's why the majority of people leave jobs, right? It's not because they can make more money somewhere else. So they can, they stay in bad jobs because they feel secure there, right?
Right.
They can go somewhere else and make a lot more money, but they don't because they know what they're going to get when they get to work. And when someone's throwing a sidebar or a monkey wrench into it and saying something,
you don't no longer feel secure and you feel like you should leave.
You feel like you should leave. Mm-hmm. And that's why it needs to be tamed down. That's why it needs to be addressed in the workplace.
Actually, I was looking at, like, personally, between you and me, I was looking at other options because I started thinking to myself, not options of leaving to get another job somewhere, but options of I need to talk to somebody because honestly, at the end of the day, do I want confrontation or do I want to just take myself out of the situation? I'm not a pacifist.
But I
typically take myself out of the situation.
I would think not addressing the situation, not speaking to or engaging in the situation is taking yourself out of the situation.
If possible.
It's possible. You just have to reach deep down in your soul and decide what you want to do.
So if somebody gives you a direct question, you just ignore them?
Yeah, 100%. Why not? You don't report that person. They don't sign your paycheck.
No, but if they legitimately need help with something on the system,
fuck them. They want to talk shit and ask you for help? Get the fuck out of here.
That's what happens constantly.
Get the fuck out of here. You gotta be kidding me.
No, that's what happens constantly, which is why I was told just tell them to ask somebody else.
Yes, 100%.
Which is what I've started doing.
Yeah,
ask somebody else. Because you're taking my time away from my work and then you're giving me attitude and...
Not gonna happen.
And saying cruel shit.
Burn the bridge.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
I didn't know it was okay.
Well, why not?
Because I needed to find out that I was following proper... You know me. I'm anal. I have to follow proper procedure. If I don't, I will go up into a ball of flames.
A little too anal sometimes.
I am. I need to follow procedure.
So I would...
Not 3-5.
So I would think... I don't know. I would think in life in general, you could easily take that and go back to what we were talking about when we were talking about burning bridges with people in your life.
That's right!
Sometimes you got to burn the bridge to create the distance.
It's like, all right, you're not doing anything for me. You ain't paying my bills.
Right.
Right?
So, and it goes back to, too, a lot of like...
But here's the thing. I don't want to just put that out there because a lot of people will take that as tacit permission to have some self-destructive behavior.
Right.
You have to think things through. Albeit, don't overthink it like I do. Right? But you logically do have to think, what are the consequences to my actions? Because sometimes, you know what? You might think you're in the right. You might be in the right, but there are possible negative consequences. Make sure you're willing to deal with the consequences before you take the action.
So I would task you at this. Are you allowing other people the right to be right?
I do.
Are you allowing other people to have the right to be wrong?
Yeah. Well, if they're wrong, they can be forgiven. If I'm wrong, I can't.
Yeah? I don't know. I mean, I have to be okay with allowing people around me to be wrong and not have to tell them about it.
No, I'm not trying to tell... No, what I'm saying is they can be wrong and that's fine. But here's the thing. If I don't tell them the first time, just say, heads up, here's what. You do anything after that, it's on you. But I'm going to give you a heads up because if I know there's a ledge and you're going to walk over it, I can't bring myself to say... to just watch.
But...
I can't.
But I allowing people the right to be wrong is as simple as this. Did you think at any point in Germany when the Nazis weren't at their peak, right? Did you think there's people inside Germany that said this is wrong?
Yeah.
And people were like, no, you're wrong.
The people who knew this was wrong, a lot of them, they couldn't speak out. They got backlash for it. So
because those other people thought they were wrong.
Yes.
So as you said earlier, what's the truth, right?
Right.
Speak your truth, right? So you have to allow...
Okay, so how can you tell me to speak my truth and then tell me if I'm a straight analogy. There's a ledge. They can fall off. I know for a fact they fall, it's a dangerous fall, it's a deep fall. They might not die 40 feet, you might not die, but you can break your neck and blah, 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 whatever, right?
Right.
I'm going to say, hey, by the way, there's a ledge with a 40-foot drop there.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't say that, I feel like shit.
Yeah, and I can understand that, but when I'm saying speak your truth, is in meditation, you will hear, do I need to speak this truth? Do I need to tell the person that they're wrong? Do I need to tell them that they're going to fall over a 40-foot cliff? Or do I need to put my hand out and go, hey, stop, don't do that?
Okay, so here's the thing. I've learned the hard way, you don't put your hand out and say, hey, stop. Because when you do, people think you're dictating to them how they should behave, what they should do. So I've learned a long time ago personally that if there is something that's going on, if you don't give an explanation for why you say something...
I would think that would be more your approach.
Is it? You think so?
Oh, yeah. I would think it would be the way you approach a situation. If you perceive to be helpful, are you perceived to be helpful because my ego or my status or my whatever is this high?
Well, then, if you're not perceived to be helpful, why do they come to you constantly for help? See what I'm saying?
Because I would think you'd have the skill base or the knowledge of helping with that situation.
Okay.
And then know that.
Okay, that is a definite possibility.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't go to lack of a better terms, I wouldn't go to a prostitute for my relationship issues.
Why not? Prostitutes are the best therapists, man. Seriously.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you kidding
so
me?
I wouldn't.
So what not to do?
I wouldn't go to a. I wouldn't go to a.
No, I get you.
I wouldn't go to a gentleman who's going through divorce, going, I want to make my marriage the best marriage ever. What do I do?
But here's the thing. You and I differ in that, because I would go to them to get what they did wrong, so that I would know what not to do. But that's a good stepping point for this week's conversation. Something to think about, listeners. I mean, Jeff makes some good points. I think I make some good points, you know. So Jeff is more proactive in the what should I do, and I'm more of a what shouldn't I do. And that's something for me to think about too. So we're going to leave you on that note and come back next week for more Jeff Haney and, of course, me, Val and Eastma, right here on Talk Time with Val. Until then, be safe, be well, and blessed be.